Rodrigo Duterte emerged onto the Philippine national stage not as a polished statesman from the Manila elite, but as a gruff, unfiltered populist from the southern city of Davao. Born into a political family, he spent over 2 decades as the mayor of Davao City, where he cultivated a formidable and often feared reputation. He was a man of contradictions, a lawyer by profession who seemed to have little patience for the due process he once studied. His leadership style was direct and punitive, earning him nicknames such as the Punisher and Duterte Harry. This persona was built on a promise of absolute order, delivered through uncompromising and often violent means, which he claimed transformed Davao from a crime-ridden metropolis into one of the nation's safest urban centers. His campaign for the presidency in 2016 was a political earthquake that shook the foundations of the Philippine establishment. Duterte presented himself as a radical outsider, a stark contrast to the traditional politicians he openly derided. His speeches were laced with profanity, threats, and audacious promises, resonating with a populace tired of corruption, crime, and a political system that seemed to serve only the wealthy and well-connected. He pledged to eradicate criminality and illegal drugs within 6 months, a bold and ultimately impossible promise that captured the imagination of millions. His landslide victory was a clear mandate from a public desperate for decisive if brutal change, signaling a profound shift in the country's political landscape. Duterte's appeal was deeply rooted in his ability to connect with the common person, speaking a language of frustration and anger that many Filipinos felt but rarely heard from their leaders. He defied the conventions of presidential decorum, projecting an image of authenticity that his supporters found refreshing and his critics found alarming. He was not just a politician, he was a symbol of rebellion against the status quo, against the Catholic Church, against Western governments, and against the very notion of liberal democracy that had, in the eyes of many, failed to deliver tangible improvements to their daily lives. This anti-establishment crusade formed the very core of his political identity and was the engine that powered his ascent to the highest office in the land. This rise to power was not merely a political victory, it was a cultural phenomenon. Duterte tapped into a deep well of public discontent, channeling it into a powerful movement that swept him into Malacanang Palace. His supporters saw him as a messianic figure, the strong leader needed to discipline a nation they believed had lost its way. They were willing to overlook his coarse language and authoritarian tendencies, viewing them as necessary tools for a leader tasked with a monumental cleanup. His critics, however, saw a demagogue whose rhetoric was a dangerous prelude to the erosion of democratic institutions and human rights, a fear that would soon be realized as his presidency began in earnest. Upon assuming the presidency,